Celebrate the life of Tina Fontaine. Joining with Tina's family, all are invited to come together to collectively voice our reaction to the verdict for Raymond Cormier and demand that solutions be found to protect the most mistreated and exploited community in Canada, Indigenous women and girls. Sandra Delaron from the Manitoba Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women's Coalition states that processes meant to protect and support young women and children have failed Tina. It is Canadian policies that drive Indigenous policies that drive Indigenous peoples into situations of poverty and violence, and Canada has failed Tina. Manitoba Moon Voices makes the following statement: "Our hearts are broken. In light of the recent verdict regarding Colton Boushie, we are particularly disheartened that once again the message has been sent to our people, and in particular our youth, that they do not matter. These verdicts cause insurmountable damages to the family, to the friends, and to the community of our young Indigenous people. Our people matter. Tina matters, and Canada has a long way to go in the name of reconciliation and justice. Our love and hearts go out to Tina's family and our community right now. Our prayer is that the hate will be driven out by the love that our community shares. Injustices like those Tina and other Indigenous women and children experience every day cannot continue, and perpetrators must be brought to justice. Tina Fontaine is a girl who endured a brutal child welfare system, and many failed her along the way. She is, however, more than that. She is a daughter, a niece, and a beautiful Anishinaabe young woman. An Anishinaabe young woman who had dreams, plans, and hopes. She is an inspiring human being who not only brought love and light to all that she met, but continues to do so today. And this is from the family. It's called Blankets for Tina. Tina Fontaine left this world in August 2014. She was 15 years of age. She was loved by family and friends. Her Facebook page still shows how much time she spent with her beloved cousins, siblings, and friends, and how many in her family cheered her on as she grew. She was bright, adventurous, and funny, and just like many young people with great promise, sometimes cynical about the world around her. Her Auntie Thelma had said Tina loved to bake, and her room had many teddy bears and a star blanket. Sadly, Canada failed Tina at every turn. After her father was murdered, she struggled a lot. Eventually, she left Saugeen First Nation for Winnipeg, where she was left on her own in a motel by CFS. It is well known there are people who prey on youth in their darkest moments of desperation. Tina should have been shielded, and she should have been protected. She was supposedly in care. Tina endured a horrible end, wrapped in bedding and discarded in a river. We promised to raise the truth of how this world did her wrong. We pledged to walk forward in the strength of love and sorrow for loss, in celebration of every young Indigenous person. We must be vigilant. We must guide our youth while respecting their wisdom. As an offering of love and support for Tina and her family, the extended community are walking, wrapped in blankets, to a body of water from into the streets. Many teachings feature blankets for soothing, holding, and honoring. This gesture is to hold one another and those directly paining from the losses of Tina Fontaine. In solidarity today, we thank you for coming out and wearing your blankets and for carrying one throughout the day. Tell Tina's story when you are asked about the blanket, and tell Tina's story when you are asked about today. And even though we are at our darkest moments and we're going through tragedy after tragedy, and it was only 2 weeks ago we were walking for Colton Boushie, we are here today. And we have to remain strong for our people and for our young children that are looking up at us and are looking for us for support. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to reiterate some of the comments that Autumn is actually saying, and thank you so much for coming out. I know every single person here is coming from a heartfelt love for our children in this country, and that includes all children. My name is Loa Bibi. I'm assisting organizing, and in just talking to the press here, they said, what is different about Idle No More? And I said, we're still talking about the same things from 2012 to today. I bring a message on behalf of the Treaty 7 leadership, and I am honored to say we stand in traditional Blackfoot territory here today, and I am from the Piikani Nation. And I was speaking to my chief on the phone this morning and speaking to the leadership the last few days in this last week with regards to this case. And I want to say that our treaty here is Treaty 7, and I want to say our relatives from the Tsuut'ina Nation and from Stoney Nations, the 3 Stoney Nations that we have in this area and across this country at our over 600 nations, we are all mourning the loss of every child, and this week we are mourning the loss of Tina Fontaine. It's sad that we are here again after Colton Bushy. This is something that goes on decade after decade in this country and goes on year after year in this country. The one thing that I want to say about the leadership in talking with my chief, Stanley Greer, is that at every level, including our level, at a community level, at the grassroots level, at all of the levels that you think of, the post-secondary level, the provincial level, the civic level, and the federal level, we're all asking for the same things in this country as citizens. We're all asking for our children to go into this country and to find that dream that we all dream, to find that the things that Tina dreamt of and that her family dreamt of for her. Our treaty here is 141 years here in Treaty 7, and 141 years later and 151 years later, we are still asking for the same thing. We did not surrender our land. We did not surrender any of our resources. We wanted to live in harmony with those that were here, and that's what we're still asking for today. I know the leadership sends their thoughts and prayers to the family of Tina Fontaine. Every single nation in this country is united in one voice today. That's the one thing you can say about our youth. You could say about the justice system. You could say about over the 11,000 children that are in care. It's one voice, and the leadership has never been so united on something when you talk about our youth and when you talk about the hope for our future. And I want to thank everybody today, those that brought blankets, and we are standing here in love today, and let's have that through the afternoon today and going into Reconciliation Bridge. And I thank you for coming again. Thank you.
I'd like to introduce my older sister, my auntie.